Good afternoon to our viewers and welcome to the 1873 TV, Your Vision, Your Power. My name is Tinashe Mbasiri. This afternoon on the 1873 TV, we bring you yet again another insightful and informative show on Shabhani Mashaba Mines, SMM Special Part 11, the facts around the acquisition of SMM. This afternoon, joining me in our studios in Rivonia, where we're broadcasting live from, is Mr. Mutuma Mawere. Mr. Mawere, a very good afternoon and welcome.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the viewers.
This is a very interesting show in the sense that every day, as an individual, I also happen to get to learn and understand better the facts surrounding the acquisition of Shabhani Mashaba Mines. And what I've come to also learn is the then Minister of Justice and Legal Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Chinamasa, who happens to be a public office bearer whom you and I elected into power, has been misusing the power that we have actually given him in order to secure the intended rights of men. Instead of promoting, protecting, and uplifting the Constitution, he has been, on the contrary, trembling against it, on it. So, having known all these facts,
No, in fact, it's an allegation until he has been given an opportunity. You may see things differently, but we can't accuse him. But what we can point out is the certain inconsistencies.
The inconsistencies as far as the allegations are concerned.
He said one thing, and he said the company was bought by government guarantee.
And then
now we see an action by an application by the same company's parent in the Zimbabwean courts, where he is the respondent. And how does he respond to the application? He is opposing the application. First, that he didn't notify the shareholders, directors of the company, even creditors of the company. What is the difference with the court process? It's transparency. It means you will be served with the papers. You are given an opportunity to respond before a liquidation order or winding up order is granted. Yet in this case, all the normal processes that are required to be in place are then set aside. What then comes in is executive orders and executive power, the threat of power, which is what you were talking about early in the morning, which is what John Locke was talking about. So if you look at John Locke, what is he saying in terms of political power? There is a threat, indeed, that people in government can use public power for evil and also for good.
for good, yes.
That the only purpose we need a government for is to protect the very right that we see in this case being trampled upon. So how do we deal with this disease called public power use or abuse? So if we know what it is, then we can be able to deal with it in a much more different way. This is John Locke in 1690, a letter concerning toleration. Locke published the second treatise on civil government, of which the Zimbabwean government is one. He said then, maybe still valid today, that political power entails the right to make laws backed by the threat of force. There is no way to prove that one has a right to hold political power by reference to one's ancestry. Since forming a government on such a basis leads to rule by brute force and consequently to civil disorder, another way must be found to choose political leaders, one derived from an understanding of men's relationship to each other before the existence of government. So if there was no government, what would be my relationship with Chinamasa?
There would be no relationship.
It will be equal.
Yes.
Yeah, he has no power to do anything. Even if he's angry with me, he has no power to do so. The power that he has is to beat me up with no consequence. But he has no power to pass a law that then is backed by a threat of what? If you disobey the order, somebody comes into your house and say, get the hell out of the house. What do you say?
So they're to get away.
No. When there's power,
Now, when there's power, there's nothing that
we have formulated a government.
Yes.
Because this is the kind of government, as you are talking about this, is be able to go beyond SMM and look at what kind of government do people deserve. Do you need the kind of government where public power is then used in the manner in which it's being used? And this is the kind of conversation that we are saying, let's just use SMM as one
as a case study
example too many. Because you don't need this kind of examples. So we then look at what exactly was said by Chinamasa under oath.
Yes.
Because assume that Chinamasa is not an officer of a company, and the company is represented by its board of directors. The moment a company becomes represented by an administrator, by a minister of justice, there must be something wrong, even without looking at the papers. Even without being a lawyer, I would know there's something wrong. So this is the context in which we can then be able to what? To assess whether what Chinamasa was saying is hearsay
or it is factual.
It's fact. And if it's fact, how could the facts have invaded his mind? When his duties as assigned by the president do not include possessing this kind of information in one hand. That's why you have a cabinet, different officers being given administrative powers over different departments of state. But here you have a Minister of Justice who speaks on behalf of Minister of Labor, Minister of Industry, Minister of Mines,
Minister of
Finance, and including the President. That this was of national importance. And therefore, because this was of national importance, I was entitled to act in the manner in which I acted. So, this is the kind of framework that we ought to consider. So where did we leave? What paragraph did we leave?
We ended at paragraph 28.6. We had completed paragraph 28.6. We're going on to paragraph 29.
29, yeah.
Yes. So paragraph 29, it states that it was therefore apparent to government that SMM was unable to pay or...
So apparent, that word alone, if you check what it means, and it's abuse here.
Yes.
But either something, you can't say the apparent accident. If you ask me, you have opened a case of murder or an accident, then maybe Leroy out there, have you ever heard the word called apparent murder? Huh? Lloyd is saying, I think to Tinashe. Is this the first time here? It was apparent to the government. Can you imagine? Who is government? Imagine there's an address now created where this creature called government is waiting for this news. That there's an impending disaster and you must intervene. That SMM was unable to pay. How would you know? And which office in government knew?
Yes, you're not in the finance department of the company. This information would be privy to an individual who happens to be in the finance department.
The creditors will be the ones saying, I have not been paid. Therefore, I respect the rule of law. If I have not been paid, which door do I go to? Ordinarily, it will be the four corners of the courtroom, is it?
Absolutely.
And you go to the door of court. Yet in this case, it's apparent not to the court of law. It's apparent to government. Does government have oversight of companies? Then why do you have board of directors? They've already been dismissed. When Shinamasa is writing this, how were they dismissed? By an order, not order of court, by a decree promulgated by the president, who is the custodian of this morality.
And just for the benefit of the listeners there, I mean, the word that we've just highlighted, apparent, if you just look at it from one of the sources that we can use to look at, the use apparently to indicate that information you are giving is something you have heard or you are not certain that it is true.
And you act on something that is not there, that is not certain, or was unlikely to make any repayments to its creditors. Unlikely. And you, what, that test alone of unlikely, unable to pay. Nor was the company able to pay back the 28.8 billion Zimbabwe dollars advanced under the public sector facility. No papers there. No facts are presented. Hearsay, superstition, suspicion, innuendo, scenarios manufactured in the head of a minister of justice.
And these are the individuals whom we have entrusted with our power.
No, this is one individual who signed what? The affidavit. I don't know about the other minister. I can't generalize, but all I'm saying is that this statement appears to be what? Based on no fact.
Yes.
Yeah? And then, if it appears to, if this is being signed by a minister who has taken an oath to uphold the same rules that he is piercing with the scissors, with impunity, so he then says, which is an acknowledgement, on 6 September 2004, SMM was placed under reconstruction in terms of a reconstruction order, not a court order, issued by the minister, not by any court. The Constitution limits the power of ministers.
But he goes above
that power with no shame. And he's saying, I don't care about the rule of law because I am the law. In the animal kingdom, what do you call him? He's the big animal.
Yes.
Who doesn't care about small animals? Because he is the law. What does he say? The reconstruct in terms of the presidential powers, not in terms of any Companies Act. A company to exist is regulated in terms of the Companies Act.
Yes.
Now, all of a sudden,
The presidential powers
it's now subject, it has legs to leave the company's house. And where does it go to? To State House. What are you doing there? Why would a president even need to know? If a company is collapsed, the Companies Act has sufficient safeguards for creditors, for shareholders, for government. Why would you not trust the same law that applies to everybody?
How many companies have collapsed in Zimbabwe? And has the president had this information pertaining to all these other companies that have collapsed, except for this one.
This one, you didn't read what you was told now. This is first is temporary measures. It's temporary. I'm borrowing presidential powers to deal with emergencies. And it's temporary. There is no act of parliament. This is hooliganism, called a corporate hooliganism or corporate violence, encroaching into the minister's mind. He knows what he's doing is wrong.
But he continues, he does it.
Says,
either way.
I am the president of SMM, and I can borrow presidential powers. It's called reconstruction of state indebted insolvent companies, entities. They didn't even call it a company, they call it entities regulation. So, because a company limits, once you say private, limited, it's already limited. It means your reach is limited. But in this case, you then remove the limits. And what happens? You are now naked. And it was published in Statutory Instrument 187 of 2004. Please look at it. It's called the Reconstruction Regulation. That was done on a Friday.
Yes.
On Monday, they were already at work. Which means that was the busiest weekend in the history of Zimbabwe. Where the Minister of Justice was trying to look for Gwarazimba, find him, establish whether he's going to be ready on Monday. Because he couldn't do that on Friday because there were not regulations.
Yes.
So the only way he could find him was through the weekend. Was it at a picnic? Shopping? And the Makanis Wanani, who paid? How did you know that Gwarazimba existed? Eh? You pick him like fish. Imagine I just go to the river and look for this little fish called Gwarazimba. I pick it up. All of a sudden, it becomes the only one, the only fish that I must eat. And this is how crazy things can be. You go hunting with salt.
It's as if you had already put the animal somewhere.
Somewhere.
You pretend to hunt and just go get it.
SMM had already been specified. I had been specified. So I was in a freezer. While these guys are going hunting, and the other one holding salt. And says, I know I'm going to harvest, my friend. I'm not a stupid hunter. I've already done everything. The regulations are there. Where is he? We have amputated him. He thought he had legs. We have borrowed state power to limit his fight. And they don't even provide room for you to challenge. You can't challenge this. Because Shinamaza already made sure that what is put in place, they have closed all the loopholes. And you are just there as a little fish here, waiting to be.
It's like they cut off your legs and they call you shorty.
And they say, wait here while we are manufacturing.
If you're lucky, they'll get you a wheelchair. But there's no wheelchair.
They lift Gwarazimba out of with a wheelchair. And he's taken an elevator. All of a sudden, he's now in charge of an empire. Have you ever heard that? Even Abracadabra. Even the prophet. The prophet says, what happened? He says it's a miracle. It's called Zimbabwe government. Miracle 101.
So when we continue with the document, the paragraph 31 it goes to state, I set out below responses to relevant paragraphs of Mr. Mawere's affidavit. I will deal with those allegations and documents which are relevant to the present matter, and the fact that certain allegations made on behalf of the applicant may not be dealt with in this affidavit should not be interpreted in any manner as an acknowledgement on my part that the allegations are either true or accepted by the respondent.
Yeah. So, Chinamasa, there he comes. He says, it is denied that I breached the rules of natural justice in failing to afford the opportunity, the applicant and SMM Holdings Private Limited a hearing prior to the issuing of the reconstruction order. Either you, in the natural justice demands what? That before you charge me, I must know at least of the charges that I have to respond to. If it's made, I must know that there's a body that is died, whose status would be different were it not for my actions. He then says, it is admitted that the proviso to section 4.1 of the reconstruction regulations, I as the minister was entitled and empowered to take the immediate action that I did to place the company under reconstruction, a company you have no interest in. He's saying that I, as the minister, was empowered. Do you understand? Empowerment literacy. I was given the power that I don't have for me to catch this fish. There was no ulterior motive in issuing the reconstruction order. If there was no ulterior motive, why couldn't you just catch the fish in the normal course of business? You go fishing with a worm and you try your luck. You may get a wrong fish.
Yeah. If I don't catch the brim, I might catch the tiger fish.
That's
if I don't catch the tiger, I might catch the brim.
Yeah. But this guy says, no, I see no evil. Everything is normal. Huh? Understand that my object is to divest you and deprive you of your rights to this company in broad daylight. But I'm using the law to do that. They call it the rule of law, and the other one is called rule by what?
Rule by law.
Yeah, then I just put the law. Whether it makes sense or not, I have finished my job. Because, my friend, thou shalt obey the law as I say. As has been detailed above, the company had reached the stage where it was unable to pay its credit. Reached the stage. Imagine you're climbing up and this guy says, no, you've reached the stage. Was it 20 kilometers per hour? Or 50 kilometers per hour? Who was judging? You're not even in the car. But now you know that the stage has been reached.
And you cannot go past that stage.
That stage. And who do I rely upon? On superstition, innuendo, workers, community management. And how was this community constituted? What interest do they have in the company? Nobody knows. Then, to pay banks and the state. Now we introduce the state. Where is the state coming in? Because if the state was a creditor, there will be a line item showing state.
Yes.
But you can't say I lent money through the Reserve Bank. Then while it was going through the Reserve Bank, then it became state.
You use the electricity from ZESA, and through ZESA, he actually owed the state.
That's what he's saying. Then, accordingly, there was no need to take agent action. It is denied that there was any ulterior motive on my part. It is further denied that I did not have the jurisdictional facts entitled me to exercise discretionary power to issue the reconstruction order. So we understand each other on what discretionary power is.
Okay, we need to also look up on that, discretionary. available for use at the discretion of the user.
So for me to do this, I must have facts that are within my personal knowledge. How would the Minister of Justice obtain all these nice facts about a company or even about my health? I go and see my doctor privately, and therefore that information acquires legs. It walks, knocks on the door. Who is on the other side of the door? The Minister of Justice. I have come to deliver information. What is the minister's locus? No, the minister is a little code created by law. And he must know. And ought to know. Because he is the minister. And that's what you have there. So, he must have had facts that gives him jurisdiction to apply the discretionary power. Where did he get these facts to apply the power that he has as Minister of Justice? There was nothing. He says, as detailed above, the company's financial position was precarious to who? That the car you are driving is about to kill you. So I took the car away from you before it killed you.
How did you know it was going to kill you?
This is precautionary. I am just protecting you. And it called for urgent action to be taken in the national interest. Where is this address where the national interest is being cooked? By who? Who is there? Is it the president and him? Is that the national interest? That their heads as servants? Because we know that all power is by what?
Nature.
By the Creator and nature vested in what?
In
the people, not in the president. And consequently is derived from the people, not from the president. And that every one of these people, the chief magistrate, whether it's a president, whatever, draws his power from the consent of the very people that he's supposed to preside. Where did these people in whose name public power is exercised ever meet or were told how precarious, by who? And why would one company attract so much attention of the chief magistrate? And what is the chief magistrate? He's just a trustee, a servant of the people.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, this magistrate
Becomes powerful. It becomes a little god.
it becomes a king. So you can say Shinamasa is a little king. Because his powers are drawn from being appointed, not from being elected minister. So the chief magistrate will be the president. The little magistrate will be Shinamasa, doing the bidding for the chief magistrate. But our understanding of power is that power itself is not a gift. It's not something that I can go and buy and sell. Power resides in the people. But here you get Shinamasa who's saying, no, that is a wrong interpretation, because he is more than just a minister of what?
Of justice.
Yeah, he's also possessed with this power to decide. It is further denied that the reconstruction order was in conflict with the specification of the company issued on 26 August. So you now know, even the minister knows, that in terms of General Notice 434B/2004, an order was issued against SMM and against me personally. Before they seized the company, while they were putting together the salt to go hunting, they made sure that they've already captured the fish before they left. So they limit your rights. They limit your rights And after limiting your rights, what then happens? It means you are now incapacitated.
You're paralyzed.
You are paralyzed. So once you are paralyzed, what then happens? It means you are now fodder, for hungry cattle to eat. Yeah, this is now a vegetarian's time. All the grass will be eaten. Anything green. And imagine you have issued an order which limits and says don't dispose of the assets. Then you pass another law which permits those assets again to be taken away without your
consent.
Without your, the power has been taken away by another act.
Yes.
They pass another act to do the very thing
That
the other act was supposed to limit.
Limit, yes.
Yeah. And this is and he says, I don't see anything wrong with that. The two pieces of legislation do not exclude the other. That I can do what I want. I can use Prevention of Corruption Act to say don't touch the assets. Then I use the Reconstruction Act, create this monster called administrator who is given unfettered rights to dispose of the same assets. And this is in the exercise of public power. Accordingly, there's no basis upon which it can be said that the reconstructing order is in conflict with the specification. Clearly, even a pedestrian will see the difference. That you say the accused or the target person, the specified person, has done so many things that are not supposed to be done. Before he even finishes his job, I'm already in the business of harvesting the very assets
that I was
are supposed to preserve. Because
yes.
a specification order is a preservation order. A reconstruction order is a destruction order.
There's no reconstruction about it.
No.
Actually, maybe reconstructing his own pocket.
If it's a reconstruction and judicial management or whatever it is, then you don't need a new law. A creditor will be given equal footing to a debtor. And they'll go to court as on their feet, not on their knees. Now you have one person who no longer has got his feet. They've been taken away. And says, come, quickly. Walk quickly to me. Then add paragraph 7 and 10. The applicant is a UK company. And accordingly, it is required to furnish security for costs as indicated above. They have taken your child. Now to get your child back, you are now says, do you have...
It's not a ransom.
Yeah. For you to get access to justice, you must now pay a fee. But you are saying the very child you are holding already is where the money is. So you are preventing me from asserting my rights in a court of law. Why are you preventing me? Because you believe that if I were to fight you in a court of law, you will not win. Then it is not correct for the deponent to the applicant's founding affidavit to state that he is the source beneficial shareholder of the applicant. It is not correct. Already he knows about what is happening in the UK. The company is a UK company.
Yes.
This minister is a company appointed in terms of the laws of Zimbabwe, not in terms of the laws of the United Kingdom. Yet, he says it's not correct. He already knows everything, sitting in our eye. He's not privy to any agreement. Then he goes on, between 1997 and 1998, ARL defaulted in the payment of the purchase price for the TNN interest. Who is he representing? TNN. And he's saying you defaulted. Therefore, I'm a judge already. on those facts. Since you defaulted, you no longer have any right. I don't want to recognize you. You got a wife and you fail to bear children. Then what does this man say? You defaulted. And your promise to impregnate. Now I'm taking the wife so that I can do justice myself. This is the thinking. Okay. An amount of 23 million remained outstanding. To who? Now, the minister of the Zimbabwean government is now preoccupied with things that have nothing to do with him. And why this interest? This interest is because the minister perhaps is not gainfully employed. He is now saying, the minister, this is not what it should be. Yeah? That is what is happening. Yeah. So, what is it that we learn from this? We learn a lot. That the minister goes further. In terms of the memorandum of deposit and charge, the shares in the applicant had been placed to TNN, not to the government. So already there's an acknowledgement that there was no guarantee.
Yes.
And yet some people, including Patrick Joao, the Minister of Indigenization and Youth, he believes that there was some
government guarantee.
Yeah, some superstitious scheme or construction that converted a purely commercial transaction into a state-captured transaction. He called it what? Speculative political entrepreneur. This is the new words that are introduced in the what? In the quest to prove intellectualism. And people waste their time into manufacturing ways that have no relevance to the facts.
And that have no meaning at all.
Yeah, but because he's a minister, he's entitled to what? To create a new Zimbabwe dictionary. And this is what we get in the animal kingdom. So, as a result of the default, TNN exercised its rights, not the Zimbabwe government, under the security arrangements enshrined in the Memorandum of Deposit and Charge. If Memorandum of Deposit and Charge was MDC, then you can understand the political nature of seeing the word MDC. Where people want to appropriate a memorandum. It's essentially a memorandum, a deposit and charge. And I get, first, for me to be able to get a mortgage, you know what it means? I must first acquire the property.
That's it.
I must first have the title
To
the property.
Yes. Then you give it up to the lender.
Then I only pledge it.
Yes.
But who remains the title holder?
I remain the title holder.
And whose house is it?
It's my house.
I bought it. The fact that I may have borrowed money, it does not change the fact
that the house is mine.
that the house is. Then you have another guy, a pedestrian, who is at the gate, who is saying, shit, my friend, I know you have not paid the bank. Now he's speaking on behalf of the bank with salt. This is the kind of madness. If it was a casino economy, we can understand it. Then it's gambling.
Yes.
Anything happens. This is real stuff. These are contracts. He acknowledges they were contracts and assumed ownership and control of the shares in the applicant. In terms of the UK law, it doesn't work that way. But he didn't know. You see? Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. So he said the effect of reconstruction, is it? Yeah. The effect of the reconstruction. So the minister is talking about assumed control and he doesn't understand what ownership is. Right, title and interest belongs to who?
Right.
Title and interest belongs to who?
In this particular case, as far as SMM is concerned, it would belong to ARL, basically.
It belongs to the UK company, SMMH, which in turn is owned by what?
By ARL.
No, by Africa Construction
Africa
Limited,
yes.
which in turn is owned by ARL.
By ARL.
So he's saying I'm wrong in saying that I am the ultimate. It's a chain. It's like upstream, downstream. If there's no water up, do you get it downstream?
No.
Huh? But according to Jinamasa, no. Somebody I have a contract with, he is now becoming the adjudicator of what? Of the contract. Although the contract is in terms of a foreign law, and the property in question that was acquired is in a foreign territory. But the minister is blind to all this because his focus, his determination is what? To assume control. Whatever it costs, I don't care. Add paragraph 14, the effect of reconstruction is akin to the concept of judicial management. What is judicial?
Judicial, it refers to the courts.
How can something that is not granted, an order granted by a minister, be akin to an order granted by a court? In a constitutional state, just look at constitutionalism.
So the minister is basically equating himself to the court or even above the court. The minister in this case is equating himself or even above the court of law.
No, he's saying that I am
the court.
The separation of powers doctrine does not apply in respect of SMM. Suspend the constitution because it's inconvenient. It's an impediment to what we want to do. Our issue is that, remember, reconstruction, I have decreed it by the power vested in me by the president that reconstruction is akin to judicial management. But he doesn't know what judicial management is. Yeah. Then I arrested, imagine, I visited Somalia once. There were people with private prisons. So when they get angry with you, they just issue an order, go and pick up Mawet and put him in the freezer. and that's the law. And that's what he's saying. He's saying, look, I don't care. What I do, just put equal to judicial management. And it is intended to preserve value for the various stakeholders of the state-indebted company. Now it becomes state-indebted. Various stakeholders, who are they? Excluding the shareholders. I've nationalized by default. State capture. I've captured this company. It is according denied that the reconstruction infringes the rights of the applicant as alleged. Because all SMM was alleging is that you don't have such powers in a constitutional state to limit my rights as a company, to alter my rights, to amend my rights. You don't have that power. You see, we have Mr. Chidube Eze, now he's bringing his Biafra, he must be an Igbo. Biafra must be
restored.
This is a diversion. Does he know what we are talking about?
I think it's
Mr. Chidube, let's create another Nigeria today. This we are talking about Zimbabwe so that we better understand what the issues are. Please, let's not be this diversionary. Let's focus on what is the agenda of the day. or Bina Matthew Nosu. All we need is Biafra. Yeah, that is an issue to be debated and resolved in the territory of Nigeria. Chidi Henry Ijiobi, Nigeria is a failed state after 57 years. Nigeria can never fail as a state.
It's individuals.
Chidi, if you are a failure, please, time for confession is now. Let's not assign failure to a human construct called a government of Nigeria. It's neutral, has no interest in success or failure, but you must do. Then Ichuku Emeka Ikeme Nwa Onye Nyebo, Biafran, we love and cherished. No Biafran, no peace. Then he says the marriage is over. I'm not too sure whether we are in the same time zone or we are in now a new business. But I guess there are people in the what? In the I guess it's good for Nigerians to know how things can go wrong in a post-colonial Africa. The fact that Nigeria is what? 57 years. We must have 57 reasons of asserting our freedom and independence and sovereignty. But we can't have an older brother like a Nigerian who has been living under a democratic state. Whatever problems they are there, then start now trying to what? To create another debate within another debate. That's why we never get our voices heard.
Because we tend to dilute those same voices by issues that are not of relevance.
No, it's relevant that they want the independence, and we are saying that independence is not the state. Biafra does not need independence.
Yes.
What needs independence is what?
It's the individual.
The individual. Oh, already independent. We say all men by
nature are equally free and independent.
And please, Emeka, wait until we finish this show. We'll come now to talk about rights so that you can then what? Understand that Biafra is a story that has to be negotiated in Nigeria. Then he said they should conduct referendum with the people of Biafra. Unity is not by force. I stand for referendum. I guess we can ignore that. I think the target audience is not us. I think they just hijacked
the platform.
The platform.
Realizing that this momentum
called is it cyber invasion?
Cyber invasion.
Cyber invasion.
Or cyber capture.
I think we can leave it there, Leroy, so that we have what? We can now go tomorrow. We'll be talking about what? Add paragraph what, Leroy?
That's paragraph 38.
15, yeah, 15 to 20.
15 to yes.
Yeah, so then we can leave it clean there, so that we can just wrap up and what? And deal with the facts of this conundrum. So, Tinashe, what do you learn?
Well, clearly, as far as the use of power is concerned, something that pretty much worries me, considering that from this statements, from this affidavit, I see a mischief when I look at what the minister said prior, then what he says later. It actually contradicts at the end of the day. It keeps me wondering why such individuals are still, or an individual like him is still in government, and should I trust an individual like that at all, considering now that he happens to be the finance minister of the same government. And just my basic understanding of what the constitution, what the role of a public office bearer, especially a minister in a constitutional democracy, is to uphold, to promote, and to protect the constitution. And in this particular instance, when I look at paragraph 37 when he states it is accordingly denied that the reconstruction infringes the rights of the applicant is alleged, he sees no wrong, he sees no evil by this order that was placed on another individual whose rights has been trampled. It's very worrisome, I must say.
But he may not, with due respect, he may not see anything amiss.
From it, yes.
Because he has grown up to believe that government can do no wrong. That actors in government are anointed. So whatever they do wrong, they've been assigned by God to act in the manner they act. So unless you talk to Chinamasa to establish whether this nonsense in the what? Affidavit, are these his words?
Or someone else.
Or somebody exported them to him, then he acquired them and then became the spokesman. And that he ought to have said that these facts are not within my personal knowledge. He doesn't say so. What does he say? If you go to the top, paragraph number 2, it starts with, I, Patrick Anthony Chinamasa, do hereby make oath and swear that the facts that are hereinafter deposed to are within my own knowledge unless otherwise stated and are true and correct. So that is what he's saying. So he believes these are the facts. He believes reconstruction is akin to judicial management. He doesn't know where the courts should end and where the executive should begin and where the legislature should start. Because he was the legislator in this matter. He was also the court in this matter. He was also the executive branch in this matter. So he was all in one. What you call 3 in 1.
The Trinity.
The Trinity.
Well, Mr. Mawe, I want to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on the 1873 TV, and more importantly, to the viewers out there who tuned in, thank you so much for also being part of this programming. And your comments, your remarks, your questions, they are also very much welcome. You can do so on the 1873 TV Facebook page. Like it, follow us, and let's get to engage in conversation. Let's broaden these conversations. Let's get to understand this aspect called power, what it is not, where it starts, where it's derived from, and how it should be used at the end of the day. Be sure to catch us tomorrow morning on the 1873 FM Continental Sunrise Breakfast Show. That is between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. Central African Time, as we continue on the future that I want. How best can we secure that future that we all want as individuals, and what is it that we need to invest in so that we can be able to realize the kind of future that I want, that you want. That's it for me, Tinashe Mpasiri. The rest of the crew behind the scenes will make this program flow. Thank you so much. But don't go anyway, as between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. we bring you a music literacy #Change the World campaign. Goodbye for now. Shares of this video. 33.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot. No wonder why Nigerians have flopped.
Oh, my Nigerians have to take over. Oh, 1.8 now.
Yeah. But it's actually good. Come and comment.
Because my house got a guy to tell it actually. Which is room down this way.
Which means we're making an impact.
I have to tell you, I know, let me listen to this.
Yeah.
What is it that's being discussed?
No, what do you think?
Yeah. Very. What are these Nigerians talking about? Were we talking about the same subject? Or they were now politicking about other things.
No, they just want to confuse everybody. I don't want to have traffic.
Oh.
I don't want to advantage traffic.
Mm.
Use the best of advantage. Yeah, but Zimbabwe today, there's no content.
Mm.
Zimbabwe today, they actually don't have content really.
This one is just.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rise up.
Mm.
They are bigger than Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Mm.
So.
Who are these guys?
So you can see the. Because we have.
The following is huge. 229,000.
Yeah, we should get 230, but 225. So we have contributed some.